Hello everyone, this is Greyshot17,
And Greyshot151 here.
and today we are here to talk about Godzilla vs. Kong. Our thoughts on the movie. It just came out. We actually saw it in theaters with a handful of people at the Alamo Draft House, which was nice to go to again in any capacity.
Yeah, it was a nice change of pace than, staying at home for a past year for some unknown reason, some minor reason.
But anyway, this movie was delayed for a year. Now it's finally out. It has an 80% Rotten Tomatoes, a 61% on Metacritic, and people are already speaking their thoughts. But 151, what are our thoughts on this movie? Continue with your general thoughts, maybe on the previous franchise, going into it, and then what do you thought?
So, I think this movie definitely has some strengths and weaknesses of the franchise in general. I don't think this is the best movie of the bunch by a clear margin, but I do think this is a very good movie. I think that the action is great. The characters are better. I still think there are other movies that have had better characters, but this one does a serviceable job overall. The monsters are great. Again, I said the action is good. The effects are great. Yeah, there were a lot of good components of this movie. The good pace with it, so you're always keeping moving, going on to the next action sequence and so on. But it does have a few weaknesses, like the score and a few other key components, but that's my general overview. I thought it was good.
Yeah, so for reference, I was going to this movie hyped. I actually looked today and went back and on some of the different movies and reviewed some parts of them before I'm going in this, so I could have a refresher and kind of an idea just in case they pulled some references from other movies. And a lot of them are surface level. You'll pretty much see them or know them when they pop up, but my general thoughts on this movie, the fights themselves were great, and they are, again, plentiful. There are a number of fights, and it's not just Kong and Godzilla fighting, it's other things as well, which I was surprised by, at least to the extent. Now, I will say this, compared to other movies, and again, I'm a big vocal critic of the original Godzilla movie of 2014 by Gareth Edwards. Because my biggest critique of that movie is Godzilla can be taken out of that movie. You can replace it with any other monster. King Ghidorah. My general immediate thought process is Gamera, and you could pretty much substitute it and it would be fine. The only big thing would be Shirazawa. But the point is, in this movie, Kong is essential for getting from one plot point to the next plot point to the next one, and brings up a focal dilemma. Now, there is a point in this movie where that plot, essentially, which I was expecting it to ramp up, doesn't. And I was really hoping they would pull on those strings, but they don't. And instead, you're kind of just in awe of a certain, a couple of scenes. You're like, really? This is where we're going? So I can honestly say, the scene in the original Kong vs. Godzilla movie where you have two scientists talking about, like, Kong is a thinking animal.
Oh, yeah.
And then the marble-sized brain. And then immediately in the next scene when they fight, you see Kong bashing his head and pretty much knocking himself out. Like, man, use that brain to good use. It's so dumb that it relies on that logic. And a lot of this movie relies on, like, older ideas and themes of 50s and 60s. Just kind of like adventure movies or of that era. But it's still fun. It's still really good. That I'll say. And also the pace is pretty quick. Though, unfortunately with the human characters, it's not as great. I will say the Kong trio, you have, the Skarsgård, who is Dr. Nathan Lind. You have, I believe, Rebecca Hall. And then you also have a young girl, played by Kaylee Hoddle. Gia, she's deaf and she communicates with Kong, or essentially is Kong's friend. That I found was the strongest trio of the group.
Yeah, I would tend to agree with that. Those three worked, while there's another group of humans, and I think the best one is the podcasting gentleman, who I am blanking on his name, but I rather liked him.
Yes and no. I like some scenes he was in. Others I felt he was way too annoying.
Yes, I will agree with that one. I will agree with that one.
Yeah, but his name is Brian Tyree Henry. Bernie Hayes is the guy. And my thought process on him is, when he wants to be annoying, or he does have some funny jokes, he can bring it, but sometimes he's too goddamn crazy and annoying.
Oh yeah. Especially when they're talking about like putting stuff in the water. I think you know the scene with the fluoride. Yeah. I'm just like, this could be done a lot better.
And I get why, like, okay, here's the thing. A lot of people are going to say, like, Millie Bobby Brown's character is like, oh, she likes these conspiracy theories. Look, go to an 80s film with a teenager and they were into all sorts of weird stuff. So that I don't care. That's fine. I don't mind that. My problem is Millie Bobby Brown's friend in this movie really doesn't add anything except for a joke, and you could cut him out of this movie. I know him because he's an actor from the Santa Claus. Was it Santa Claus 2, I want to say?
What? He was in Deadpool.
No, well, that too, but he plays an elf in the not the Santa Claus, was it? It's essentially, it has, what's his name? Cool guy, always. He's in The Thing.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
Oh my god, it's gonna cause me crazy. Anyway, how about, while I look up his name, look up about the last 3 characters. The other 3 main characters. Because Kyle Chandler is in this movie for a brief second, but he has very little screen time in it. By the way, I thought the woman from King of the Monsters was also going to be here, the scientist. Oh. No, she's not in here.
She's not here.
No.
I don't even think, wasn't the Mothra twins aren't here?
By the way, it's Julian Denson. That's the kid's name. Who's Millie Bobby Brown's friend in this. Yes, was in Deadpool 2, but was in the Christmas Chronicles 2, I should say. And the reason I say...
yes, the classic.
It has Kurt Russell in it. That's why. He's great. I do recommend those movies. They're actually really fun with Kurt Russell. He's the most badass Santa Claus I've seen in quite some time, next to, like, Rise of the Guardians. But back to this movie. The next 3 characters I was trying to get to was, you have a CEO character, you have the CEO's daughter, and you also have Dr. Shirazawa's son.
Oh, he gets nothing in this.
He gets nothing! You have Shirazawa's son, a person who literally, in this, I'm being honest, whose father literally sacrificed himself to bring back Godzilla. And again, dedicate his life to kaiju. There's so many good stories you could introduce. Oh my god. That's, if people want to get mad, that's the most frustrating thing. You bring him into this, and without spoiling it, they do nothing with him.
Oh yeah, he's absolutely wasted, quite literally, in this movie. And there's
Shun Oguri is the actor who played. I feel so bad for him, because he seems like a good actor, but like, he gets nothing.
He's very attractive. He's a very good-looking actor, but sadly, he is wasted. He's nothing but eye candy. He is wasted in this movie, and I think there has to be a scene, right? This movie's like an hour 40 minutes, so there's got to be a lot of scenes that were cut.
So here's my thought process, because they say here there are a number of characters that were cut from this movie. Like, again, Zhang Ziya was originally in this movie, but they cut her out.
She was the Mothra investigator in the previous one, the twin, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I don't know. I'm very that whole process. I'm not entirely sure what they were doing. I get what my thought process is. If I have to guess, they're like, okay, let's cut down plot points we don't need, because people said they don't care about the human cast. But she's a Mothra twin. I kind of care about her.
Well, the thing is, though, if you can cut her from this movie, is that really, what more could she have added? I'm kind of curious. I want to see the scene, but I don't know what... I'm
guessing she was with or dating Kyle Chandler, because they hinted at that. But, again, you throw in a Mothra twin, I'm kind of curious to see. Now, the other thing I should probably mention is the fact that there's so much lore that they could explore in this movie. They don't. And that's the other, big gripe I have is there's it's one of many. There's so many cool things that they set up. Again, the Hollow Earth theory is brought to more attention in this.
Oh, yeah. It's a major plot point. The other movies, there's, hints, little notes. This one, major detail.
Yes. It also, I'm very confused about how this Hollow Earth theory works because of let's just say the way they originally got into it. Let's just put that out. Is that
it was like catacombs. is to say, and this one's more, it goes from catacombs to journey to the center of the earth, kind of, is the best way to describe it.
But the first time they jump in, let's just say that. The first time the whole...
I consider that just I don't know what to make of that.
Unless it's okay, we're gonna shoot you fast into it, but I don't, like, through the cave.
They fall into something. It's kind of, I guess it's something like with the earth, who knows? But it's weird. Yeah, it's really weird. Again, this is a movie you turn off your brain, and unlike King of the Monsters, I think it works for the better. King of the Monsters, there's a lot of moral dilemma, there's a lot of, like, there's a lot of great stuff with King of the Monsters. I like King of the Monsters, and I think it's a really good movie, but I understand why people don't like it. What I think this movie does better is its pace, its focus.
Yeah, it's good pace.
What I feel the other movie did better is the score. This movie really doesn't have a score. Godzilla gets the theme, and I can't tell you anything else about this movie. Whereas in King of the Monsters, I could tell you every single monster's score, and I could tell you other scores, because it was also good.
The problem with this movie as well is, and again, if I may, they introduced soundtrack, like, songs for Kong, and they're okay. But the whole point of Kong Skull Island was the music was to fit the time period.
Yeah.
Where I don't feel like the music fit the time period here. I feel it was like more older songs, which doesn't work. Also, they kind of went with, and again, they kind of go with a metal, or like not metal, like an 80s synth kind of soundtrack a little bit. Maybe it's just me with some characters,
it works with one specific thing at the end, but minus that, it doesn't.
I should note, I did review the soundtrack. The theme for that character, just like Godzilla, if you compare the sound of the theme, let's say Godzilla's theme, like the dun dun dun, like that. Yes, they do put that in this movie, but it's not the
no, it's a different take.
Yeah, it's again,
a different it's the most memorable part of this movie is that, like, those few beats. The rest of it, I do not remember.
Yeah, the problem is when they introduce that character, because I double-checked, they're like, oh, it's a similar beat to another musical score of that character. It's just so forgettable because I just don't know what they did. It's just this soundtrack is not really...
Yeah, it doesn't pop.
No.
Yeah, but minus that, again, minus our note of, like, I'd say the villain...
Oh, visually it looks good. I should say that. Yeah. They didn't skip on that. Visually it looks great.
Visually it's amazing. I'd say the villain and the OST are probably the weakest elements. But for the most part, I had a good time. I laughed. There were a lot of good jokes. The action is superb. I will say...
This is probably the best long fight in the Godzilla MonsterVerse series. Like,
and Godzilla stacks up. Like, the one thing I would say about, like, 2014, 2019 is you feel Godzilla is a beast that can be beaten. Like, I believe Godzilla can lose a fight in 2014 and 2019 because he's just a creature. In this movie, I believe he is a god. This movie, he keeps going. He is a beast and a half.
The other movies are like, he's a god. Taken out a lot easier than this movie. This movie, don't worry, he can be defeated. Kong bows to no one. Godzilla literally is like... can I be honest? Godzilla fires probably as many atomic rays in this as, like, the Heisei series or Biollante. Something like the number of shots is high.
Yeah, it is. It's more than, like, the other two movies combined. It is, and doubled. It is insane, but I love it. Because you can tell the different styles of his fight based on the beam, right? Like, I appreciated that difference. But yeah, no. Overall, for this movie.
Oh, and if you are a Godzilla fan, there are plenty of nods to older films.
Easter eggs and, like, that kind of stuff. Yeah,
I will say, the last thing I'll say is, if you're expecting other monsters in terms of from the Godzilla or even the Kong universe to pop in, don't expect that. I mean, no, I'm saying is from, like, outside of the MonsterVerse, outside of that sphere, there's nothing I would say that comes into it beyond that I would say that people already didn't expect.
Yeah, there's other things, right? There are other things that do pop up. But yeah, for the most part, there's nothing. There's new creatures, which I did like.
Yeah.
But there's nothing like I think King of the Monsters again had some really creative, especially like Behemoth and Cilia. Like there are new monsters and old monsters like Mothra and Rodan. Here it's really just the MonsterVerse versions.
if I was gonna give a score to this movie, and again, if you want my honest opinion,
Yeah.
I know it was heavy-handed, I know it's dumb, but I really do like King of the Monsters more than this. But the only MonsterVerse movie I think this is honestly better than is Gareth Edwards, because I feel like I like how the monsters fit in this universe more.
Yeah.
But so that means Kong Skull Island is probably my number one. But if I have to give like a score out of 10, I would say this is probably close to a 7. It's dumb fun. It literally is a modern day recreation of Kong vs. Godzilla from the 60s.
I wouldn't go that far, but I will say is I would agree with a solid. I'd give it a 7. I wish I could. Maybe an 8. Maybe an 8 if on a test.
Yeah.
Because it's weird. I always, whenever I like a movie a lot, I walk out of it saying this is great, and then I kind of have doubts later on. This is kind of like how I felt with Incredibles 2, which I was like, it's good, it's really good, and then I loved it later. This is how I'm feeling about Godzilla vs. Kong. Like, there are a few gripes I'm focusing on right now, but I think I'll appreciate the other things in time. I just need to watch it again.
Yeah.
Luckily, you can on HBO Max. Great
Yeah,
thing about
that's
it
a great
right
thing. You can get a free trial and check it out. Absolutely. So here, real quick, spoilers. Let's talk about spoilers. Plenty of warning, plenty of time for you to, change your opinion. But I will say this. So, Easter eggs. They literally lift Kong and get him to where they need to go, similar to like the hot air balloon scene. They put a goddamn axe in the Godzilla's mouth, like that scene. I believe they
He's
have
revived
Kong...
by electricity. Kong is.
Yes, he's brought back to life and empowered by electricity. Again,
also, Kong gets the shit kicked out of him.
Oh my god. Well, Godzilla does too.
I mean, yeah, Godzilla does too, but like Godzilla keeps moving. Like you never feel like Godzilla is put down, even when Mecha Godzilla, spoilers, he shows up.
Yeah.
Even then, he seems he's wounded, but he's not down and out.
Yeah.
Godzilla though is just a beast. I mean, he blasts a hole to like the Hollow Earth in Hong Kong.
Oh, if you're also expecting military to fight Godzilla, you will be pleasantly rewarded, because the whole naval sequence with all the ships and planes. Also, there's a shot where Kong is on an aircraft carrier. There's this poor son of a bitch who's taking off as Kong. He's like, oh, okay, let's get the hell out of here. And then there's another guy who's trying to follow up, and Kong just grabs his plane and is like, oh, cool, this is something I can throw. Throws it, he ejects, and the plane goes careening into Godzilla. Godzilla's like, all right, and that's how Godzilla gets on the carrier. He's like, I'm done with this.
Yeah, it is kind of funny, right? Because the whole point of this is the arrogance of man is thinking nature is in their control, not the other way around. Like that's the whole sticking point of all these movies, right? Like that's what Kong, that's what Godzilla King of the Monsters. Like in this movie, it kind of is, because if they just let Kong be Kong, right? If Godzilla just did his shtick, Mechagodzilla would have been destroyed before Godzilla even, before it woke up. Kong would have been left alone. They never would have had the power source. Mechagodzilla would have been dealt with. Godzilla would have got the day saved. It was the man screwing with nature is what caused all of this dilemma again.
Every time. And I like that. Every time, man makes things worse.
Yes. Sometimes you need a giant radioactive lizard to put things right.
But anyway, there's also some great shots. Like, Mechagodzilla is in this. He's
super physical. Like he's throwing around Godzilla physically.
He's fighting similar to, I would say, more physical like Kiryu.
Yes,
Kiryu. But he also has the rocket built in that kind of like Kiryu, and a booster pack in his back. So I kind of think of it like they combined the Kiryu arm and not arm, but the pack that he wears and put it into Mechagodzilla. So he literally fires it from his up his shoulder, and then.
The best way to describe this Mechagodzilla is if they've used Kiryu and the Ready Player One Godzilla.
Yeah.
I think that's the best combination, because Kiryu's physicality and the other one's design almost.
Yeah.
Also the atomic ray, holy god.
There's a beam battle. It's great.
There's a beam battle and Mechagodzilla wins hands down. That was a great scene. Mechagodzilla.
No Spiral Red Godzilla. No. Spiral Ray, which
maybe they're saving that for Godzilla. They're probably gonna make one more, right? It's gonna be Destroy All Monsters. It has to be.
Either Destroy All Monsters or Death of Godzilla. That's the one they have.
It's gonna be Godzilla, Destroy All Monsters. It's gonna be Destroya, and it's gonna be it's gonna be Destroy the Death of Godzilla, aka Godzilla versus Destroya.
It's what they do.
Used with Destroya monsters. That's somehow.
Actually, I can't even say that. You can't even do that. Look, there's a big goddamn plot hole in this movie, and it's made by Godzilla. Godzilla makes the biggest plot hole in this movie when he literally is like, Kong does some stuff on the ground. He finds his original species home. Yeah. And apparently they died. You can see skeletons from the previous Godzillas and stuff. So it's like, okay, it looks like there was a final assault. Everyone died. But here's the thing. Here's the thing about this movie. Godzilla's like, oh, I know you're down there. And again, Godzilla goes after Kong because he's an alpha. The storm on Skull Island protected him. And when the storm essentially took over the island, Monarch saved him. But the problem was they eventually have to leave. So... well, he angers Godzilla. But the point is, Godzilla's like, alright, I'm in Hong Kong. Oh, what's this underneath me? Instead of dealing with Mechagodzilla, which I'm here for, let me deal with this son of a gun. So he blasts a hole from Hong Kong to the center of the earth and roars down. So that way Godzilla's like, oh, come at me, bro. And Kong's like, fine. And literally goes into the hole, comes out through Hong Kong. I'm like, there was no other way they could get there. Yeah, there's no other way. They just were like, okay, what's the easiest way? Godzilla blasts a hole. All right, cool.
It's an epic scene. And what I'll say this is, I don't think they're that deep. I really don't think they're that deep underground. Like, I think they're maybe a few miles. Like, that's it.
That's pretty deep!
I'm just saying, Kong climbed up it in like 5 minutes, right? So he had to have been hauling... He's hauling...
But the fact that is such a straight line path from that point when he... Again, you get what I'm saying? Like, it's such a straight line path to that location.
Yes,
literally pops up.
It's a plot hole. It's literally a plot hole. But
when people say Godzilla King of the Monsters is dumb, I will fucking get this scene and be like, this is dumb. This is Michael Bay level dumb. The good thing about this is, the only positive I could say is it's the only scene where I'm like, this took me out of the movie. Like, yeah. That was the only scene in which I'm like, this is so stupid. But that being said, them messing up Dr. Serizawa's son and giving him nothing, that screwed up. They bring King Ghidorah in, and you kind of think King Ghidorah is going to be like Mechagodzilla.
He is.
But they don't make it clear. Like,
yeah, they don't.
Like, they just have him start functioning when they give him the power source, and it's like, okay, is it because he's King Ghidorah's like soul in there? Again, they could also have made it where you had the bones of Godzilla that irritate the fuck out of Godzilla, but no, they don't do that either. Like, Godzilla is, again, attacking places because it's Mechagodzilla being assembled, which is also a bit weird because they have the fight pit there, so obviously the thing's been fighting skull crawlers in some capacity.
It's been testing, right? Like, they've been assembling pieces. They've probably been, like, retrofitting and creating, so, like, I'm guessing, right, they've been going through different models and they've been upgrading him with different parts and stuff.
Fair.
It's just a guess. Again, this movie has got plenty of issues. I enjoyed it, though. Is this the best of the MonsterVerse? Arguably,
it is the best fight scenes, I would say. Like, Kong and Godzilla, Mechagodzilla, there's no other scene where there's monsters fighting for this long, with this much spectacle, with this much fan service. I will give it that.
No, 2019 had way more fan service than this.
No, what I'm saying is for the length of time in the without interrupting, like that, because there were like cutting back to humans.
Okay.
However, what I will say is this movie had more. King of the Monsters had more heart.
Yes.
And that's weird to say, but they had more heart with the monsters.
Yep. I'd agree with that. I'd agree with that in that sense. But yeah, that's our general overview of Godzilla versus Kong. What were your thoughts of it, guys? Did you enjoy it? Let us know in the comments down below.
Please let us know. And also, again, you have like 29 days from this review goes out to watch on HBO Max for free. So just go on, check it out. Please support this movie so we can get at least one more, and that way we can...
I'm calling it right now. Godzilla Destroy All Monsters is going to be the 4th one, and it's going to be, with Destroya. I'm calling it.
Either Destroya or, again, if you want to be cool about it and do something
I swear to God,
unique,
if you throw in Baby Godzilla.
Give us Baby Godzilla and it's literally because again the Alamo Drafthouse, they have the little intro, and it had the space Godzilla, baby Godzilla, along with Godzilla Jr. on a couch with cell phones. Like again, I love that little thing. But again, if you're gonna bring in baby Godzilla, this would be the time to do it, because then he could be apprenticed by Kong to be a good Godzilla. And oh my God, there you go. Death of Godzilla, then you do one more Kong movie, and Kong is raising baby Godzilla, and that's his family. Come on. I'm giving you these ideas, Legendary, because, you know, Warner...
Please, Legendary, reject them.
Yeah, because I think Legendary paid for 75% of this movie, but Warner Brothers like, hey, HBO Max.
I mean, it's making its money back. Like, it's doing well at theaters, so we'll have to see what happens.
Oh, Legendary's laughing. They already took was it 300 million?
Yeah, and they get all the profits from, like,
China?
I think it profits from all the profits in China, too. But I think that's way too crazy.
Well, didn't it just make $70 million?
It made a shit ton of money.
Legendary's like, yes! More Godzilla, please! Alright. Anyway, that's it from us. Thanks for watching. It's been Greyshot 17.
And 151.
And we'll see all of you next time.
Later.